All right, guys, we got yet another good interview from another indie author over here at Pensacon 2016. I have Jason Crutchfield with us. He has his books here. We're going to let him talk about yourself and talk about what you do and what you write.
All right. Yeah, my name's Jason Crutchfield. I've been a writer ever since I was in middle school. I would role play online, exchange stories with other people, and I've always had a deep love for the storytelling ingrained in me ever since I was a child. But my love for technical writing didn't come until I met a certain teacher named Miss Amos when I was in college. Right around that time, I wrote the prologue and the first chapter for this series. It's a 4-part series called Nano. I wrote the prologue and the first chapter right before I graduated, and I didn't touch them again for about 8 years. After which I picked them back up and decided I was going to write them. I was going to finish this series. This is what I was going to do. I became a recluse for about 2 years until I finished it. My friends wondered if I was dead, whether or not I was going to, ever reemerge and hang out with them again. But a little bit about the story itself. It's set about 400 years into the future, a time in which nanites research has propelled humans to a state of a golden era. Or at least in the prologue, that's what happened. The poster child for this nanite revolution is the nanite known as Panacea. When you inject it into the body, it basically it takes the place of everything your doctor does to you. It heals wounds very quickly, cures cancer, fights disease, you never get sick again. But like all good technology, we eventually, of course, weaponize the nanites. Once we weaponize the nanites, we create military nanites for super soldiers, super strength, speed.
Rise of the Machines type scenario.
Super hearing. In fact, the main character in the book actually has a very special nanite that allows her to speed up her cognitive functions so quickly that time around her seems to slow.
Nice.
Including herself. So she can't do very quick things while she's slowing down time, but it allows her to analyze her situation better and determine the course that she's gonna take during the next
very nice
sequences. Once we weaponize the nanites, a man named Braddock gets a hold of some experimental nanite weapons called Titans and ends up destroying the world. It turns it into a wasteland, almost a Mad Max kind of feel. That's what I've heard people compare it to, is a very Mad Max setting.
Well, that's a good comparison to have. I mean, Mad Max has done well over the years.
Yes,
so
yes, absolutely, yes, it has been a wonderful series.
It's all right, calm down, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's just gonna be viewed by millions of people.
It's okay. No pressure.
Right? No pressure.
The story itself takes place 10 years later, and it begins with our protagonist, Ilya Lorando. She is a former United States mercenary that actually served directly beneath the man that ends up destroying the world.
Gotcha.
The story itself is her quest for revenge for unrelated reasons. But the real meat of the story is things that she overcomes, the people that she meets, and how she changes as a character. As objectively as I can speak as the author,
right.
I believe that is the strongest point in this series, are the actual characters themselves. They're all people that I know in real life that I've twisted a little bit and exaggerated a few of their traits and added some of me to them.
I know a lot of indie authors that do that. They pull from their friends and they use their names and their likenesses, their strengths, their weaknesses, things of that nature. Yes.
In fact,
awesome.
A lot of the characters in the book are just names that are hodgepodge from people names that I actually know. Characters I pulled in.
It's great when you have free material.
And the second biggest selling point I would say to the series would be the action sequences. The fights are very important. Ilya is an excellent fighter.
You can say badass.
She's badass.
Yeah,
she's extremely badass. In fact, I fell in love with her right from the beginning. If I type certain things and I'm like, maybe that's a little too harsh, maybe I shouldn't have it do that, she'll in my head tell me, I will break your fingers if you type that.
So you basically, the movie Her was about you, is what you're saying.
Kind of.
Okay, I got you.
And one of the things that makes the combat aspects a little bit interesting in the books is that you have a soft cap of 3. You can get combat nanites implanted in yourself up to 3. After that, you start suffering from a debilitating effect called hyperaugmentation, or as they call them, the hyped.
Gotcha.
The more nanites you have, the more psychosis you suffer from, and eventual cannibalism and sociopathic. And these hyped run the wastelands, just a constant threat to me.
So basically, you have created crack in the future, is what this is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Future Crack is awesome. So we're
Future
all right.
Crack is amazing.
Yes.
Like I said, it's a 4-part series, and all 4 parts are finished. The third one will go into editing in April. My editor's swamped; she can't touch it until then, and release later this year. And then the fourth one I'll put into beta reading sometime next year, in the beginning of the year.
Awesome.
And I like to say that because that way I don't Robert Jordan anybody.
Right.
I mean, if I die, you'll still get the story.
But boom.
But let's hope that doesn't happen. Like I said, all 4 books are done. The first 2 are available. These are the first 2 right here. I know Archive 01 and Archive 02.
Okay, so where can we find you on that?
Yes, sorry. I actually have a website. You can find me on Facebook as Jason Lee Crutchfield. That's CRUTCHFIELD. You can also find me on my website, authorjasonlee.com. Or you can find me on Amazon. Just look up Jason Lee Crutchfield, and I have an Amazon author page on there.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking to us, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
See you on the next one.